Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Smile with Dr. Mark. And we have a special guest today, Alexa. We're going to get to you in a bit.
Okay,
You have to just sit here.
I'll just sit here. On the smile.
So, Mark, have you been able to enjoy the beautiful Okanagan weather? Have you gone out?
Like 12, 13 days running, where you can still see the sky. So
Are you
that's
getting
nice.
out, though? Are you getting out on doing anything?
Yeah, I've been
Doing
in the
some-
lakes. No, I got a bad wheel right now. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
tennis is on the shelf, but I've been in the lake. So that's
It's
nice.
just nice, yeah.
Paddleboarding and swimming. And
You were
How about you?
lucky that we don't see any smoke just yet. Hopefully we don't get it. So, yeah, no, it's good. I love it. I love it. I'm not a winter person, so this is my jam. for
yeah,
sure.
I'm close to skipping winter myself.
That's why I'm like San Diego. That'd be my jam.
Yeah.
20 degrees year round, awesome beach.
I
Ocean.
think it's the sunniest city in the U.S.
Oh, that's why.
It's either one or two. I can't remember.
Let's do it. You want to open a practice there?
Nah, no.
No.
Too many lawyers.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So before we get to Alexa, as usual, we have 4 of the internet's most asked questions. So I Google this and see what people are asking. So I love the first one because I think a doctor probably hears this all the time in a different way. But are dental x-rays safe? Am I going to like cancer by going into that thing that you put around my head? And
Yeah, no, they're really actually very safe, especially nowadays because most practices, well, a lot of practices anyways, have shifted to digital.
right.
So if you think about that, the way I think about it is it's like having a really big antenna or a really sensitive sensor. So you need a very weak signal and you can get more information that's actually, able to be processed and edited, and you can filter out more information than the tiny little guy that you'd run around and hold up to the light.
Yeah.
So very safe.
So we're
Never
safe.
been
We're
safe. Yes.
Love it. What can I do to help if my teeth are yellow or stained? I know we're both, none of you are going to smile. Right? Coffee, by coffee.
Yeah. So controlling your habits, I guess, would be one. Second thing to do would be to figure out why they're discolored or stained. So there are intrinsic color families to teeth. Some people have brown tinged teeth. Some are yellow. Some are orange. Some people get lucky and they're really bright white. But if it is actually your color family, you can have them professionally whitened, and that will just generally strip the internal color out of the tooth.
I don't mind. Yellowy.
I mean, if it's bad dental work, you can have the dental work replaced.
Is that a genetic thing then? Is that what you're saying? That like from your family you get brown teeth and you get really white?
Yeah.
I was thinking Dr. Mark said orange teeth, and I thought Donald Trump because he had orange teeth.
No, that's just a general. Yeah.
What technology is trending in dentistry? And I thought that was interesting because I just went to visit Dr. Mark this week, getting an implant, and took a little camera and it just took a picture of this and it builds the tooth. And I'm like, wait, I don't think it used to be done that way. That's pretty cool. Like, so what's some of the general, like, sort of trending technology when it comes to dentistry?
Yeah. So two things. Number one, just digital in general. So, rather than goopy impressions, we can use, cameras and
Right.
things like you literally just experienced. But 3D design is another element. And then printing is like exploding. So
In which way? What do you mean printing?
you can literally use that camera and you can image, let's say, a defect in a tooth or, or even say, I want to change what the teeth look like. And you can design it on a computer, print out the restorations out of various different materials, and then bond them in.
Crazy. And it probably shortens the time too, right? To
Absolutely.
that.
You can turn around things now. And if you had a really motivated lab that was really nice to you and you're really nice to them, you could probably do something, within a day
Wow.
that would have, conventionally taken weeks.
Right. Awesome.
So-
And last question. And I thought this is an interesting one. It says, how do I choose a toothbrush? And I think that's interesting because you go to that store now and there's literally like 300 options for toothbrushes. And
Well, you'll laugh because I never go down the dental aisle. I don't know. For my money, the only way to choose a toothbrush is to grab a good electric toothbrush. So, and I'm not talking a spin brush, but as I've joked many times, the toothbrush you use is better than the one you don't. So, if stickers motivate you, if the color motivates you, I mean, fill your boot. But generally speaking,
that's the one.
You would Darth Vader.
All right.
Your toothbrush?
Yeah.
generally you want something that's, going to be kind to the tissues, right? But I would say that the toothbrush isn't as important as how you use it. So That's really.
Do you have an electric toothbrush?
I do.
Do you have a water pick?
Yeah, I do.
Wow, 2 for 2.
Do you use the water pick?
Not as much as I should.
Okay.
So loud, and I have tenants, and I'm like, am I like turning on the lawnmower in the morning? Like,
That's true. Use it though.
I need
After
to.
my toasty.
I know.
2 separate issues.
All right, so we're gonna move to Alexa now. Thank you for
Nice.
joining us. So I know there's one. We're gonna start a support group for you because Alexa's a mouth breather.
Yeah, it's worth causing a lot of issues.
So I thought it would be interesting to have Alexa join us and let her ask some questions around, mouth
She's working hard on keeping her lips sealed.
how to keep their mouth closed. I'm curious, like, have you been a mouth breather forever? Like, or is it something that you just kind of thought?
Has somebody shamed you?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think someone once told me when I got my teeth cleaned, and then it totally I started to think about it, and I was like, that makes so much sense, because I struggle even when I'm in the dental chair and, they have everything in there. They're like, so many things. Why do you have so many tools in my mouth? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm having a hard time breathe because I actually can't fully breathe out of my nose, I feel like. And this comes from, I don't know, back in the day, they took out tonsils. Every time someone looks down my mouth, they're like, wow, these huge tonsils. And I'm like, thank you so much. So apparently I have big tonsils. So I don't know if that means I'm just lucky and that's why I'm a mouth breather. It's causing lots of issues, and apparently it's going to cause me more issues. So I really need to go sit down with Dr. Mark and talk out like a plan. So yeah.
Do you feel like we should have done this with a cow?
I was going to say, from a dental perspective, though, what are the issues that Alexa could face or would be facing with being in mouth water?
I'm the only one out.
Yeah. No, it's a problem, really, quite honestly. So that answer is not real simple. I mean, the most immediate and easiest one is if your mouth is dry, your tissues are more at risk for infection bacteria, your teeth are going to be stickier, stuff will build up. You're easy to get cavities, gum disease, right? Bad breath. Those would be the low-hanging fruit. You're lovely today, don't worry. But that would be the start. The real challenge, though, with mouth breathing is if that starts in your use, what's going to end up happening is instead of having a corrected tongue posture and swallow and, lip tone, etc., what ends up happening is all of those structures change and the pressures being applied to the teeth and the arches change. And so that's why you see so much crowding and narrow smiles and, things don't quite fit, right?
So what are some things that might cause someone to breathe? Is
tonsils?
It is. Okay.
No, tonsils are perfectly normal. They're functioning part of your immune system. And then you've got nasal tonsils or adenoids at the back, which are probably arguably even more important. And they function in, little guys, right? But once you hit about puberty, those tissues are supposed to fade to black and frankly disappear, right? Because your immune system switches to your gut. 80% of your immune system is your gut lining at that point in time. So those tissues are de-accentuated, right? So if you're constantly living with 2 golf balls in your throat,
Want to zoom in and see?
Yeah, it's going to make it difficult for you to get enough air through there, right? And your body will have to work harder. So even as you think about this and you dig down into it, that side of the nervous system where you're working hard, quote unquote, to stay alive, is the anxious side of the nervous system. So you think about anxiety as well, right? It's well known and well researched. If you're a mouth breather, your general anxiety or nervous tone will be elevated, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm high strung because of.
Yeah, well, think about it. I mean, most people have gone to at least a yoga class and they tell you breathe through your nose,
which I struggle to do.
Yeah. But the question becomes, how come you can't breathe through your nose? So you can end up with a deviated septum, for example, that, occludes part of your nose or one side, and that can be birth trauma. Doesn't mean you had to take a soccer ball to the face in gym class.
Well, it actually goes back to, I think, when I was a baby. Like, I used to hold my breath and pass out. Like,
just because?
I would just randomly just hold my breath and pass out. I don't know. I definitely know that throughout my life, I've struggled with sitting
breathing
in a
issues.
dentist chair.
What about like
This is gross. I drool.
So
I drool because when I sleep, I have my mouth
right,
open.
right. But you were in like competitive
Gymnastics.
gymnastics. Did it affect you there? Did you like?
Really remember
Well,
too
did you
much
make
of
the
that?
Olympic team?
No, so
Well, there
you go.
Have you noticed teeth issues because of this?
I definitely suffer from cavities. I feel like I'm I'm the person brushing, flossing maybe too much. And every time I go in there and they're like,
no such
they're like, yeah, we need to see you more often. You really collect plaque. I'm like, but why? And then I don't know. I keep hearing things like, should I tape my mouth when I sleep? Or can you train yourself to become like not a mouth breather, or you actually need like dental
You can. So yeah,
procedures, help therapy?
it's a loaded.
All the above.
So yeah, loaded question. Yes, all are equally possible. Now, the first thing to determine, is it habitual, right? Is it just a habit that's propagated throughout your life? Or is it facultative in terms of you have to breathe through your mouth, otherwise you're not going to get enough air? So first things first, before you start doing things like taping your mouth, and that is a real thing, you can ask Alexa or Google or whatever AI tool you want. Lip taping is a real thing at night, but the precursor to that would be assessing whether or not you can actually breathe through your nose. Now, you can experiment with these sorts of things in the evening, especially if you challenge, you're challenged to do that by using, a piece of like 3M micropore tape, stuff that you would put gauze on skin with.
Nice.
Yeah. But if you're reading a book at night, or you're, let's say, watching a program, if you tape your mouth shut and ensure that you're breathing through your nose, generally speaking, if you get past the freak out stage, right?
Sure.
But you're in control, right? So calm should actually, ensue. And oftentimes, people who have cold feet and cold hands and that sort of thing. Again, your circulation improves, your gas exchange improves, so your hands will get warmer. All of these things will happen.
This is causing me a lot of problems. I'm a cold person. My hands are always cold. I know I'm a female, but okay, we've got a lot of things I can solve.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Right?
I also mentioned something. You said I might be a mouth breather because I'm so small. I'm a petite woman.
Yeah.
Is that just because I don't have enough room?
No, it's interesting to think that, right? And although a lot of petite women do have a challenge with breathing, and mostly the breathing challenge I worry about is the one that happens in the nighttime. But it's got nothing to do with the fact that you're small. I've seen lots of CTs of small people that have big airways, right? So it's more how your bits and pieces and parts line up. So there's a much deeper dive in terms of the analysis for that part of things. But I think where petite people get missed is you think, oh, you're small and you're slim and you're fit, and therefore you can't possibly have any challenge, right? But when you pull back the curtains, so to speak, and you look at the imaging, oftentimes you'll find challenges there.
I'm actually curious, if Alexa came to see you then, what would be the process? Like, what are the steps you would take to diagnose the problem and the solution and all? Like, what are just we want to have a few minutes, but what's the process that you would cook her through?
Well, the reality is, in my practice, everybody gets the same process anyways, right? So I don't like to guess, so I like information, right? So
experiment on things. Let's try something.
No, for sure. I mean, when you go to the dentist, I think people are expecting you to look at teeth, right? So do I have any cavities? Is dentistry that I have, is that okay? What about the health of my bone and gum tissues? Maybe feel around, do I have any extra lumps and bumps? But the physiology is the important part, right? And so that's really what we're talking about. And it just happens to be the start of the breathing tube, and a major system in the body. But any system that's breaking down will have impact across the body in every arena. So whether it's your, metabolism or your circulatory system, you might have blood pressure problems. All of those things can manifest out of a breakdown anywhere. So looking at the biomechanics or how things line up or how they function is an important part of that overall assessment, right? If you look at, out on the street and you look 2 blocks away, every car is pointed in the right direction, sounds kind of okay, looks all right. But when you get up close, it's like, hey, that one's got a bent frame. It's going, sideways. I don't even know what that noise is, right?
That shouldn't be on food.
Right. And those poor wear patterns or geometries can set you up for, major problems later on, right? So it starts with just trying to figure out what is.
Yeah.
Then we work backwards and say, how come? Like, why? And that will allow you then to make the decisions for, okay, what makes the most sense for me?
I have to tape my mouth. How cute am I going to be?
Well, you can't just jump to taping them up. Everybody don't just jump to taping them up. Yeah, explore the topic, but don't jump to it.
So what I'm hearing is that if people that are struggling with mouth breathing, you're at the dentist and you can't breathe while they're in your mouth, maybe go see Dr. Mark and it's a conversation. You'll go sit with him and you're not going to learn it in one sitting maybe, but it's looking at everything and seeing what is causing it or how do we fix it and coming up with like a plan.
Yeah, and I appreciate the sentiments, but the overarching theme is, I think in today's world, you have to advocate for yourself. So if something is not feeling the way that you think it should, or the absolute best thing you can do is just dialogue about it, right? And if you find that who you're dialoguing with doesn't understand it, then maybe dialogue with somebody else. You have choice. Everybody's got choice.
Is this something that's like recently come up in the dental world, or has this always been around and I'm just like in the last 2 years figuring out that I am probably a mouth breather?
That's probably TikTok.
TikTok's covered everything.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing existed before TikTok. No, these topics have been around, but I think what ends up happening is with any sort of understanding that develops, all of this, I think, has come out of the a relatively new field of medicine, which has got to do with sleep apnea, right? So in the original days, and we all know, stories of jet fighter masks and CPAPs and all that kind of stuff. Well, those things are great. I mean, they help people breathe. It's not the only way to solve that problem, and I'm not saying you need a CPAP. But my point is, grade 3 science will tell you that air is the thing you can go the least amount of time without, right? Right. So 3 minutes without air, 3 days without, water, and 3 weeks without food is the general rule of thumb, right? And or you die, right? So when you think about things like airway, I think as our understanding improves with how important that is to our overall well-being, I think it's percolating into every different area, and I think that's why the buzz is higher.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say though, from the point where Alexa's saying is that when I was younger going to the dentist, it was kind of like you said, it was just your teeth. You have a cavity, you need this, you need whatever, but it didn't take the holistic approach that maybe some dentists are like yourself are doing now. Like I would say like my dentist way back when would have never said, you're a mouth breather and this is what's causing these issues. They're like, well, just fix your cavity. Oh, we'll fix your next cavity. Oh, we got to pull tooth. Oh, we got I feel like it was more, and I could be wrong. Maybe that wasn't my experience back then.
That's my experience.
If it's technology or just the practice changes over the years, as anything does, I think it's becoming a little bit different when you're looking.
Well, I don't know. And again, as dentists, we're kind of toiling away in our own environment for the most part, but I feel like communication has changed as well. And so hopefully, anyways, today's dentist is a better communicator, right? So if you even think about, hey, I've got a cavity, like, okay, well, the cavity is the end product, right? What's the actual problem, right? Yeah. The problem is somehow we have enough bacteria in there eating enough sugar to produce a hole. So are you eating too much sugar? Are you not cleaning it effectively or appropriately? Is there something that predisposes you toward that? Is there a genetic component to it? Those are the problems. The cavity is the byproduct, right? So again, in my world, I'm a big fan of finding the why.
Yeah. Amazing.
Like Simon Sinek, find your why. See, it's in everything.
Simon says.
You have any other last questions before we wrap up? And you have Dr. Mark right here. Is there anything you're like, about mouth breathing, not one of the subjects? He's also a counselor sometimes too. But
I think to miss anything on, like I said, like sleeping, prone to cavities. It feels like. Is there any other things that a mouth breather could see that I didn't mention that they'd be struggling with, and maybe I am struggling with?
Yeah, honestly, I think in today's world, I think anxiety and that whole side of things is kind of the undertone. I can't tell you how many people I see with profiles that are, on antidepressants. And I'm not saying that they don't have their place. I'm not saying don't take your meds. Not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, maybe there are some steps that you can take where maybe you don't need as much medication, or you're able to start to help heal yourself, quiet our minds. I find, even the pace of life is going so fast, it certainly doesn't help, right? And if we're going at breakneck speed and we're not appreciating the fact that we can have these underlying deficiencies, I think it's just amplified, right? So
I need to sit down.
That's the moral of the story. You need to book an appointment and go see Dr. Mark Simon.
Happy to see it.
Well, thank you for coming
We'll
on.
come on another episode.
Yeah, I was right.
Give you an update on how the mouth reading
We'll
is going.
progress. We'll show the progression. Well, thank you for coming and starting this,
Thanks a lot,
mouth breathing group that we're going to start now. Facebook group that we're going to start.
There's a support group somewhere.
It's okay. Keep your mouth open. We want you to breathe.
No, the moral of the story is breathe through your nose. Close your mouth, breathe through your nose.
We do.
Try to breathe through your
I
nose.
do try. I focus. Even when I'm sitting at my desk, I'm like,
Yeah, but even when you're doing meditating, those sorts of things, right? It's not necessarily about controlling it. It's just about being aware of it and working toward it, right?
There we go. That's a good way to end. Thank you for, Dr. Mark, thank you again. It was fun.
It's always a pleasure.
Thanh you for joining, and breathe through your nose, keep smiling, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.